Hello everybody and welcome to the table. So we have three interesting knives here on the table, and what do they have in common? So first off, all of these knives are steel frame locks. And of course the fact that they're steel frame locks means they might be heavy had they not gone with the design choice of opening up the frames. So the frames of these three knives
Hey, what are all these holes?
These are speed holes to make the car go faster.
are indeed skeletonized. So we have, in my opinion, what is good, what is better, and what is best. So we'll just chat about all three really quickly, and I'll tell you about some of the features of these knives. And in particular, I want to feature the Coast knife right here in a little bit. But first up, we do have the Gerber Paraframe. So this knife has got to be one of the most ubiquitous knives here in this country, because you can go to any Walmart and buy a Gerber Paraframe pretty much any time of the year. So this is a very, very common knife. I see these in use all the time, and generally, since these are a fairly inexpensive knife, they usually come in at around the $20 price point or less. They're very common to see in a lot of pockets all around the country, and generally when you see them, they are well used and well loved. It is, again, a steel frame lock design with this completely open pass-through construction, as you can see. It has a single position pocket clip, so very basic. The blade steel is nothing to write home about. Again, it's very basic, no-name steel, but it's a sharp knife, and when you need a knife and you go to Walmart, boom, it's right there on the shelf, it's ready, and it's waiting for you. So the Gerber Paraframe, if you don't already have one of these, there's a very good chance next time you go to the store, you're going to see it on your shelf. But these are in the pockets of tradesmen all around the country, as well as junk drawers all around the country, just because they're so common, so ubiquitous out there. So this is the Gerber Paraframe. And kind of on the other extreme end of things, this knife right here comes to us from Civivi. This is the Civivi Perf. And so perf, I assume, is short for perforated, because the frame, again, is a completely pass-through open design, steel frame lock here. We do have a nicer upgrade in blade steel. So this blade steel is a Nitro V steel, but in terms of size and weight, it is very comparable to the Paraframe. They both weigh the same amount, so they are both 2.8 ounces in weight. And you can see when they are both opened, again, very similar in size. So the Paraframe and the Civivi Perf. Again, in terms of fit and finish, the Civivi, as you would expect, super nice action on this. It runs on bearings, has a deep carry pocket clip that's reversible. So a lot of really cool features there. And this knife comes in around the $50 to $60 price point. And at this point, the Perf is actually a discontinued model from Civivi. So there are still retailers out there that sell this model, but they may not be around forever. And again, steel frame locks here, but with all the cutouts in the handle, it helps save on some of that weight. But really what I wanted to kind of talk about on this particular video is the knife in the middle. So we have good, we have the best, what's technically better. So right here we have the Coast, and this is the FD 306 or FDX 306. So we can see the markings on the blade right there. But again, this is a steel frame lock design. It is a manual opener, so no spring assist, no bearings. It does appear to run on washers there in the handle. So we have the cutouts in the frame, just like the other two knives, and that does help reduce the weight. So this knife right here, you can see it's a little bit larger than the other knives on the table, so it does weigh a little bit more. It weighs about 4.1 ounces as opposed to 2.8. But what we have are the thick steel handles here. We have the steel frame lock design. And we also have a deep carry pocket clip, and it is reversible for tip up or tip down carry. And left or right hand side tip up carry. So there are multiple carry options here, and it's a nice deep black coated pocket clip. The frame itself, you can see, has this black wash design on it. So it's a stone wash with that black finish. So it looks pretty stylish in my opinion. Our blade, again, is also a little bit different looking. You can see it's a Tanto tip blade with some serrations on there. And of course, our markings right here have the blade steel featured. This is a 7CR17, so it's not going to be the highest end blade steel out there, but for what it is, it's openly advertised, and so you know what you're buying. Some really cool features on this knife, though. So again, it has some jimping up here on the blade and on the frame, but you'll also notice one of the coolest things about this knife, it has this secondary lock. And so this is a common feature we see on a lot of CRKT knives, and I know with CRKT they call it their locks system, but it's functionally the same. So when the knife is in this open position, if you move this lever forward, you'll notice right inside the frame there is a little lock that engages right here, and it prevents your frame lock from closing. So it does add a secondary safety feature, so when this little lever is engaged, there is no way to close the knife. And so that does, in case you're using this knife very heavily, very hard, it does give you an option as to have an extra bit of safety, I suppose. And it's not really the most mandatory item you would think of to put on a pocket knife, but it's there, and I like the idea that it's an option to use. And even if you don't like this as a feature, there's a little screw right here, or a little place where you can tighten it down, and you can tighten it down enough so that this lever no longer even moves. It'll just stay there right in place, whether you like it or not. Same thing, you can also loosen it and make it even easier to engage and disengage if you prefer it that way as well. But I like little features like this because we have good, better, and best, but what's really the difference between good and better? These knives almost come in at about the same price. So the Gerber Paraframe, go to Walmart, you can buy it for what, $15, $20, and this Coast FDX 306, about $20 shipped from their website. And generally you can find coupon codes on the Coast website. If you're not familiar with Coast, Coast is a brand. They primarily make things like flashlights, work lights, so you know the type of lights you would use to light up a job site or put on your hard hat. But they do have a line of inexpensive pocket knives as well. This is one of them, and so we don't see super high-end blade steel, we don't see titanium. Those are not their bread and butter. Their bread and butter is giving the working man a pocket knife that's reliable, dependable, and it's going to last, you know. So having these cool extra features, I think their customer base is really going to be into that. So seeing things like an extra lock on there, that's super cool. But the build quality itself is excellent. There's no play in the blade. Everything is super solid. It's a manual opener, so there's no spring action in there. You can just use your thumb and the blade flies right out of the handle. And again, the blade steel is an inexpensive steel, but it is going to be an upgrade over whatever it is they're using on the Paraframe here, which I would guess is kind of something closer to like a 3CR 13 steel, a 440 steel. It's just unknown because we don't know what they use to make this knife with. Now, if you do have the money, you can always swing with the Civivi here, the Perf. But I think right here in the middle, this is the sweet spot. If your budget is limited, but you still want a quality knife, a steel frame lock with all the strength that comes with that. You know, you can see the lockup right there. You can see the centering right there. You know, very, very good quality, but the materials allow a lower price point to give you a good working knife that I don't think anyone can really complain too much about. So I love the stylistic design between these three knives. The perforated frame locks, so we see all these nice little holes to lighten the weight. But what do you think? Do you think these knives are kind of interesting? Do you have a Gerber Paraframe in your junk drawer at home right now? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Gerber Paraframe, Civivi Perf, and the Coast FDX 306. Hope you all have a nice day. I know this was kind of just a weird off-the-cuff video, but it's something I was thinking about. I've been thinking about recently. So hope you all have a nice day, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.